it comes to birth control, many women today are choosing a pill-free method called long-acting reversible contraception, or LARCs. Some women may shy away from this option because of the myths surrounding it, but our next guest is here to set the record straight. Here to give us the straight talk on LARCs, Dr. David L. Howard, an OBGYN from Well Health Women's Specialty Care. Good morning, Dr. Howard.
Good morning, JJ.
Okay, before we dive in and talk about LARCs, can you give us just a general overview of the options that women have currently for birth control?
Right. So the way I like to think about it very briefly is, number one, you've got male-based methods and female-based methods. And within the category of female-based methods, a simplistic way to think about it is active methods that require the woman to be doing something every time with every intercourse, or take something every week, or take something every month or day, active methods. And then there are these passive methods that the best way to think about it, set it and forget it. The woman, the doctor puts it in, and the woman doesn't have to remember anything. It provides long-acting contraception that is reversible. So that's a very simplistic way to think about it.
That was a really nice breakdown, and I'm only giggling because I thought of automatic sprinklers in my yard, of
Set it
getting
and forget it.
those set up.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you. So on the passive methods, that's where we talk about LARCs, or long-acting reversible contraception. What are they?
Right. So to be really specific, there's 3 types of long-acting reversible contraceptions.
Okay.
2 of them are called Iuds, but what does that stand for? Intrauterine device. It's a T-shaped device with a string at the end that's placed inside the uterus, intrauterine device. And then there is a implant, subdermal, under the skin implant. And so those are the 3 methods of long-acting reversible contraception. 2 of them are placed inside the uterus, 1 under the skin. The 2 inside the uterus, 1 of them lasts for 5 years, 1 lasts for 10. The one in the arm, the implant, called Nexplanon, that lasts for 3 years.
Very interesting. I certainly have heard about IUDs. The implant is a little bit newer to me. And with all 3 of these, they are reversible, as in a woman can have them removed and then carry on to have children. Am I right?
Yeah, there's no long-term effects on fertility.
Okay. So really, choosing the best method is really about catering it to the individual.
Right.
Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about IUDs first, and talk about who IUDs are best for.
Well, the interesting thing is that IUDs are actually best for almost everyone. And it sounds a little facetious for me to say that, but they actually did a major study in St. Louis, the Contraceptive Choice Study. 10,000 women were given the contraception of their choice at no cost to them, and over 70% chose a long-acting methods, and the majority of those chose intrauterine devices. So intrauterine devices, either one, are suitable for the majority of women.
Okay, interesting. Now, my next question is, what about side effects? And I know with IUDs, there are a lot of myths out there. There are things that you hear discussed, like you can't have them if you haven't had a baby yet. But let's start with side effects. What are they?
And that's really critical because, not to distract too much, but the reason why IUD rates in America dropped for so long is because of the history of what's called the Dalkon Shield. And there's an entire history behind that. We don't have time for that, but IUDs kind of fell out of favor in America for a long time before kind of making a comeback with the 2 new ones we have that have been in place for the past decade, the Mirena Iud and the Paragard Iud. The main side effects is abnormal spotting or bleeding. That's the main one. And by abnormal, I really mean unpredictable. And the key thing is that, yes, it does occur, and women ought to be prepared for that. But you got to put it in context. It's really the first 6 months where the biggest adjustment in the female body occurs after the placement of the intrauterine device. Usually after the first 6 months, the pattern stabilizes, and the bleeding in the case of the Mirena Iud is almost 0, and in the case of the Paragard Iud, the woman has her regular periods every month.
I was going to say, that was my next question, is actually, do you have your period? You do with one
but not the other.
But not the
right,
other.
and that's just simply because, very simplistically, because
Boy,
one.
I know what one I'd be choosing.
Right. Well, you'd be surprised, and actually that's a good point. So, but just to cut to the chase, the Mirena IUD is the hormonal IUD. It releases a hormone.
Oh.
It thins the lining of the uterus, and
Okay.
that's why such a large percentage of those women who have that device have 0 periods for 5 years, and they love it.
Which may or may not be a good thing, though.
No, there's no harm to not having a period.
Okay.
Some women, however, especially anecdotally, my patients of Latino, Hispanic origin, they actually tend to prefer sometimes the copper IUD because culturally some women think that getting your period means you're not pregnant. And with the copper IUD, you get your regular period. And so psychologically,
It's very interesting, and this is a very personal topic. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Can we jump ahead
Yeah.
a little bit to insurance, okay?
Right.
When it comes down to it and a woman's informed and makes this choice, is it often covered by insurance or not?
and it's again, it's a classic case of history. Before the Affordable Care Act, there really was a number of situations, number of insurance plans where it would be covered, but maybe with a high copay.
Yes.
These devices, the IUDs and the implants, the sticker price is high. Let's not cover it up. It's almost
Okay.
$1,000.
Wow.
If you were to buy it just straight cash.
That's a lot.
And so, but now with the Affordable Care Act and the contraceptive mandates, almost every major insurance plan is not only covering it, but without any copays.
Wow, that is very good to know. Thank you so much for being here
Absolutely.
and sharing this great information with us, Dr. Howard.
Absolutely.
Yes. For more information on LARC and to schedule an appointment, call the phone number or visit the website on your screen. Well Health Women's Specialty Care is also on Facebook and Twitter.